Good morning, everyone. We are very excited to have you back. Welcome to Mentorship Monday. Once again, this is a show where we weekly host different professionals and entrepreneurs to share their journeys on their different careers with you. And we hope that this helps you navigate your own professional life, personal life, as well as your leadership journey. I am your host, Katleho Masheane. And of course, I'm not alone, I'm with my co-host.
Thank you so much, Katleho. I'm Thabang Rants'o, and I also welcome you all to today's episode. Once again, today we have an amazing guest speaker that who needs no further introduction. His name is Ntate Lerata Pekane. He's an accounting trailblazer, and as well as an outspoken politician, a founder of I Am a Change Agent movement. Ntate Lerata joins us today as we talk about entrepreneurship, impact, and young people's participation in politics. Ntate Lerata, welcome to Mentorship Monday, and thank you so much for taking your time to join us today.
Thank you very much for that.
All right. Shall we get down to business? Yes. So, Ntate Lerata, tell us, how did you decide to choose the CA career? Did you have anybody guiding you as to what career to choose, or was it something that you just fell in love with?
I believe it's the influence of my high school. Back in the days, I come from my high school. They call it Secretariat High School. We used to call it Commercial High School. So they would do a lot of business-related subjects like bookkeeping, accounting, things like those. So that came in handy. My initial choice of career, I actually wanted to be a priest. And actually pursued the priest. I was almost, at some stage I was wearing them dresses.
Oh.
And then halfway through, I quit. I was so proud, and I came back and my aunt was nearby when I arrived, and when I asked, what can I do? She said there's a school nearby at the corner, just the Center for Accounting Studies. So I went there. Again, to some extent, my opinion has an influence. We had good grades from high school. Could have taken any course that I wanted, to be honest. So it was not a difficulty to enter into an accounting profession. All the things were in place. That's how I sort of stumbled. In my heart, I wanted to be an electronics guy, fixing radios and television. So I don't know, I just sort of stumbled across it.
I think I like the fact that your aunt played a role in sort of giving you some career guidance to an extent, because she knew an institution that would at least meet your love for numbers, and she then directed you into that path. What would you say is career guidance? Because I mean, sometimes we think career guidance is only when you are taken to different institutions. What are other forms of career guidance that we can appreciate? Like you're saying, your aunt looked at the
It's mainly you could have people like those. You could have friends. You could have role models, whether it's from your village or the books that you read, or the movies that you read or series, anything that can have an impact on you. You never know that thing that will spark that light to say, wow, I think I see myself in this person, or I see myself in this character. So it is many things, but bottom line is encouraging exposure. You got to encourage people to keep looking out for new things, to keep learning and search for possibilities that are out there, and you never know what you'll find, in my opinion. So yes, career guidance is important, and more because it has to do with balancing of these other things. You can want to be a doctor, but if there is no medicine school around, or you cannot afford to go to one, it's one of those things that you get to link reality with the ambitions you have in your head. Not that it is out of reach. It may not be attainable now, but with time, the possibilities can be there where it can be attainable for you to be a doctor.
So you also talked about role models or those bright sparks that may be there in your life. What would you say, who are the people throughout your journey now that have helped you in your growth or become the person that you are today?
There's one in particular, and it's, I was doing first year, and you know how students are, we had a strike. And my dad had given me money to pay whatever was due, and then there was an argument, a political argument, you say that let's not pay our fees until they give it to our demands. And in my space, I was given the money to pay for the fees, and now my classmates or schoolmates are arguing that we shouldn't pay them. And how am I going to answer to my dad that the money he gave me, he told me to pay, I didn't pay because we had a collective issue as students. So the day the Khan came, then he was the CEO of the Institute of Accountants. And in the middle of the main thing he said, there was one sentence that got to me, to say, we all come from different families with different backgrounds and challenges. It is not wise to fit within a group because we still need to account to the homes that we come from. And at the end of the day, it comes down to what do you want. After that meeting, I remember I went straight to the offices to pay the fees because I remembered why I was here. It was not for the collective vision, but it was that. And his story since, even in the numerous platforms that you've made, have always impressed me. We come from the same high school, even though he was ahead. He had it tough growing up. He's a self-made character. And then as you become a student, then people started telling you things. You know, people see potential in you. They start seeing how you're very intelligent. And those things build you. They encourage you. They make you to bring the best out of things. Then you started bringing yourself. Because even if you do not choose, but it's our mama, and you start looking, who's this mama and why you took channel, and then you start seeing the attributes that are common. And then somewhere down the line you decide, I'm not that person as well. Even if I have those things, but who am I? Then you start defining yourself. And nothing replaces hard work. So I remember, because the key thing at the time was I came from a religious background. We were not learning the lessons to pass. We were learning them just for knowledge. And when I got back, I got so destroyed because I was blessed to be what you would call intelligent. So I never really worked hard, honestly. Things used to seem to happen easily, but I suppose I was paying more attention during the lessons. And things would stick in my mind then. So when people were studying hard, it looked like I was in serious. But when it comes to passing, occasionally found myself passing more than those that worked hard, as in the sense. So I had got destroyed because I felt I did not need to work hard. So when I got back, that's when I rediscovered that I had damaged my brains to think I got it. And that's when I started learning that I need to work hard. So I opened my eyes, started working hard, and then I performed well. Like the first graduation at the licensed stage, I was the top student. And usually being a top student comes with a lot of opportunities in terms of employment, in terms of referrals. So you do not have to compete like the rest of the students. And the top firms will be the ones that usually go for the top student. So with that, it has an implied expectation. We're a top firm performer going to a top firm, so we expect nothing less of that excellence. So that really shaped or forced me. It is a demand on my capability, but it was also a standard that I needed to adhere to. So it kept me going with that standard. So it's important to have things that want to bring the best out of you and dictate that you become the best of the situation. So that's pretty much my part. So even employment, I never really applied per se. It was more a confirmed case and subsequent 2 or 3 jobs after. It was always the stories that we heard about you, that you'd like to come work with us to this day.
Wow.
So I think you touched on a very intriguing topic, because so there's a book that I was reading, Grit, talks about whether people that are talented are the ones that progress or people that work hard, right? And you're saying that at some point you were just intelligent, right? You relied on your intelligence to progress, but at some point you realized that hard work also needed to happen. So that the writer also argues that effort actually counts twice. Of course, when you're talented, you're a bit steps ahead, but when you put in the effort, then it makes you even further ahead. What would you say what's the biggest lesson from hard work? What would you say to anyone that's sitting there that wants to know what counts the most, talent or hard work?
Oh, definitely hard work. Hard work, it's talent is there, it's God given. Nobody can take it away from you. You got to be aware of it, because others could have it but not be able to use it. But you got to have the humility to know that you do not know how it got to you, and you do not know how it can disappear from you. So hence you still need to do the basics, which is pull your socks, do your part, work hard. And then a combination of the two is the one that is sustainable. That's my opinion.
Did you have somebody that you had as a mentor, that you had sessions with them talking, or did you have mentorship, like a distant mentorship? Because you can have mentors that you just observe.
I had multiple mentors. Others, they didn't even know they were mentors. Okay. I was just observing them, watching them. And then there was one who was my boss. He's an Englishman. His inspiration was more on the people side of things. He was an accountant, fared well, taught me simple things like if you went to a client and the client was looking for a nurse or for a teacher, be a nurse, be a teacher, don't start talking in account standards. And sort of worked. And then the lack of a time is we had different partners. There was that one serious partner who is good in administration, who is good in training, who is good in framing. And then he also taught me the core stuff in terms of how well to do things. And then you had one that compensated to say, when you are out in the field, how do you conduct yourself as a person? Going fishing, playing golf, I never understood why golf is important in business. I never played golf for that matter, but he opened my eyes. He even taught me how to drink wine. The whole bottle for the first time. I'm still learning. But it is the little things like those that saw me grow. A lot of them also came as peer pressure. Once you're in the atmosphere, environment of romance, even if you do not want to do what romance are doing, they will nevertheless persuade you to start doing what they're doing. So there's certain things that I started doing not because of out of my free will, but because I was in the company of the people. And to buy trust, you need to fit in with the group. It can be wrong, it can be bad, I don't know, it can be good, but sometimes you find yourself in positions that you say fit in, so that I feel and they feel that I'm part of them and they part of me. I got to do at least basic things to get things done, especially in business. What we do outside, then it's what everybody is. It does not dictate the person that you are. And the adjustment to switch from work mode, family mode, friends mode, was therefore necessary to know and be aware of the environment. This environment will dictate how to behave. It has its rules, the way you dress, things like those. The etiquette started becoming important. How your dress code influences your posture, your behavior, how the company could affect the perceptions of people who look at you, and things you do, the importance of family, and all those things. So it is a whole lot of things. I have a lot of mentors, even today. I still have some are just simple movie characters that you just love the way they do things, the way they think. And some are your counterparts, some are even younger than you. Some will make you fall in love with passion and talent and raw, that hunger. Some people are more hungrier than others, and you keep asking, it's the one thing that I'm so hungry for, that I'll have this passion that I see in a human being or in this other person. So there is always an opportunity to learn from all corners, from all sorts of people. And yes, all of them to some extent do actually become mentors. And then there's formal mentors as well. For business, you can have certain people to say, if I'm in sometimes you need conversations. I'm in the business space. Most clients that I talk to, they don't always need a solution. Sometimes they just need someone to talk to show them a different perspective. They think they're in the world alone until they hear that there's more others in the same similar position. And they'll tell you, you know what, I came in very tired, overwhelmed, but I feel refreshed now. And then you ask yourself, what did I do? You realize I didn't do anything but just listen or just talk back when she was or he was talking to you.
In just a minute, I just want to raise an interesting thing that Ntate spoke about having to fit into certain corporate cultures or in certain environment. In just a minute, how do you make sure that in trying to also fit in, that you don't lose yourself in the process? Because some people try to fit in and then they don't balance it with them maintaining who they are, versus trying to fit in.
Oh yeah, it's tough. One stage I was working for the Sutuban company, and they had top performing brands in terms of tastes, like Malutis, the Award, and I wasn't much of a consumer. But how do you speak and represent a brand that you do not know or have no relationship with? And at some stage, there is that discomfort or even frustration to say, I'm so fake, I'm not authentic. You got to represent the team that you come from, but you can't represent it without those essentials. So I ended up having to just taste it for the fun of tasting it, and I developed a taste for it as well, even though I didn't get some. So yes, it's difficult. After that, was it the case of me now going into beer? No, it wasn't the case. I had my own history in my family of how devastating the effects of alcohol had been. So I was already a victim of my past in terms of the dangers that come with it. And of course, I was even more worried that this is now an indirect way of me heading that same road. So there is always a balance, and your conscience, your spirituality, and your ability to survive. All those things still need to be balanced. You cannot say overwhelmingly now I'm in business, so it's business. I still have a family, I still have my spiritual being to look after. So those things are indeed difficult. So you just become thankful when you survive them, to say, oh, thank God I did. But with scars sometimes.
Yeah.
Good. And I think you also talked about the various lessons that you got from your mentors. How to dress, the importance of networking. They even taught you how to drink your first wine. But I think I would assume that these are lessons that also helped you when you left formal employment into entrepreneurship. Why did you choose to become an entrepreneur and lead the company?
That's the beauty of it all. I think if it were to be me, I would assume everybody needs to be an entrepreneur. I know we've had arguments with other people to say not everybody is made to be an entrepreneur, but I still argue everybody is an entrepreneur. You're selling your smile, you're selling your height, your complexion, your humility, your character, your bringing, your values.
Wow.
Everything that you do, it affects how people look at you. Some buy, some don't buy, some even hate it. So whether you're aware that you're selling, it doesn't make you not an entrepreneur. You're still an entrepreneur, but you do not know that you're an entrepreneur. And so business or being an entrepreneur, what comes with it, which is good, is the ability to come with solutions to problems. A state of mind where you own your turf. It's not up to a politician, it's not up to my mother, it's not up to my father for me to make it. Is they do have their part, but I also have to do my part. And that's what it's fun about entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is not always about making money. Some are what you call social enterprises. They are more of a social purpose. What you guys are doing with this program, the mentorship, it goes beyond non-profit. It's the impact you have on people, the people's lives that you're changing, the knowledge that you're imparting on them, and your ability to influence leadership for the future. It's just a question of time before you start seeing your influence in play in politics, in big offices, in corporates, and it started now. And the benefits or the dividends of that is the ambassadors you have created from them. Oh, I know, I've seen you before. I've seen you, where have I seen you? So you don't have to now start explaining yourself every time. That is entrepreneurship. So some people, you can capitalize it and make more money. For some, you can make a difference in people's lives. For some, even in government, it's business, providing services at no profit. So I believe in my definition, everybody is, but subject to correction. So me, it's not optional. It's one of those things that you either know you have, or you can pretend you don't have it and still do it by luck.
Perhaps then we can also ask you what you think has been the most rewarding thing of being an entrepreneur. Is it those referrals or money?
It's impact. Some things are priceless.
Yes.
Once you start having those people that say, you changed my life. I used to be like this, or I became this because of you. You realize there's more reason to your existence. And yes, after creating value, it is a given that money will be there. You cannot have value and not be compensated. We call it value because it's valuable. It is already within it. So how you exchange the value that's already there, you can exchange it for cash, you can exchange it for space, for time, for effort, for property. It's all up to you. You can exchange it for another value, for that matter. And it happens all the time. Look, I'm here. I don't know how it happened, but I'm also being marketed for whatever reason. I'm also being given opportunity to influence other people. It's what I'm getting with being here. Mm-hmm. And nobody said I could go for someone really made to pay for the same services. So that it comes down to that. So value is value. It's value, and resources is not just money. It's many things. It's information. It's intelligence. It's time. It's many things. To be honest.
I think I love this because I think over this past few weeks we've been talking about impact, because it is important that we do things that have a permanent impact. I love the fact that you spoke about impact and how it can benefit you, not just in monetary terms, such that it opens up doors for you. It connects you with people that would otherwise not have connected with. So that's really interesting. So I just want to add on to this and ask a question. What has been the greatest challenge for you within the entrepreneurship space, and how did you overcome it?
Sure. Entrepreneurship and challenges, there are all sorts of challenges. Sometimes it's not meeting the target that you wish to have. Sometimes it's not getting the business at the time that you think you should get it. Sometimes it's competing with people that have better means, much more prepared than you are. It is challenge full time. And mind you, you are an entrepreneur, so your is not to entertain challenge, but to see opportunities in the challenges, to come up to problems. When you see a challenge, you are reminded of why you're an entrepreneur, because you're required to come up with a way around the very same challenge that you're coming through. So it's like constantly being reminded of who you are. It keeps the momentum going, you know. Just thought you could stop to say, okay, I'm tired of being an entrepreneur. Another challenge comes up and reminds you to turn the wheel again. And that's what keeps you going. You start with the little ones. After this ones, your capabilities and ability to go for even greater challenges increases, and you grow in the process.
I love that outlook that these challenges are an opportunity for you to solve those challenges. Because sometimes you go into business thinking this is the challenge that you're going to solve, but you come across another challenge, which means that this is the challenge that you should actually be solving in entrepreneurship. So when we talk about, also when we as young people talk about entrepreneurship, we talk about we want to be our own boss, we want to have control of our own time and all that, right? But the reality is entrepreneurs will tell us that it's very tough balancing. You even work the extra hours. You don't work 9 to 5.
Oh yes.
There's more work that you put in.
Yes. And you are the rewarded. But sometimes you work full time. You don't retire. You don't knock off as an entrepreneur. But it is also fulfilling. My favorite one is you get to work with your husband, wife, kids, grandmother. You get to take off time when you want to leave. And then you could be at home still working. You could be at work but at home. That's the flexibility you get in your own business, which you won't get in employment, because in employment it's not your mother's place, it's not your father's place either. So there are rules that dictate. So it also has influences on growth, general growth. Like if you go into things like your occupational intelligence, which essentially means the more exposed you are, the more your body or your brain will develop the ability to accommodate the experiences you've gone through. So the things you learn in business are wider than the things you would learn in your routine. The things you learn under shambles, where there's no organizations, are more than the things you learn where everything is in place, where the controls are in place, the systems are in place, the structures are in place. Because the people that did the structures and put the controls in place learn things that you are now not required to learn for you. But in that space of entrepreneurship, you are the ones to put the structures in place. And the first time is tough, but after doing it first time, it now becomes part of your genes or your makeup as a person. And that is so fulfilling. It's so fulfilling, but it also demands a lot.
what would you say? I think most young people go into entrepreneurship because they feel like it's a place of rest, it's a place of having it easy, the flexibility. Can you talk about navigating like the thin line between that flexibility and actually losing it and failing? Because most people now go enjoy the flexibility part more than the working hard part of entrepreneurship, and at the end actually fail because they went into it thinking I can go to work at 10 o'clock, because there aren't those strict rules that somebody has put in place.
Yes, first, our reasons for getting into business are for others is the inheritance. You grew up in a family that was already in business. So those things are already in place. You are now maintaining what is in place. Others need to start from the scratch. There was nothing in place. You are the one who's to build it up. And the demands of how you ended up in business are for others, it's because they hated something so bad. Others, it's because they had no choice but to go into business. Others do actually have a choice to say, here's the job, but I hate it. I like business. So our reasons to end up in business are multiple and diverse. There is no one way that we end up in business. And even to remain in business, our motivations are different. Even to quit from business, our motivations are different. So I cannot accommodate the diverse nature of how we end up in business and not in employment, or how we end up in employment, not in business. But over time, there is certain things that are common, but there is a lot of things that are actually different, one case to case.
Mm.